This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
I knew it. Another Hurrdat Media production.
Hi, Chantel.
Hey, Roxanne.
Chantel, are you tired of me? Is our listeners tired of us? Because we've done a total of 6 episodes this week.
Literally. I think even like last week we did like 4 or something, like 4. So it's been a lot.
Chantel is tired, you guys, but we had to get on here because this is breaking. And in the sense of, people have had enough. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about an interview that Melissa just did. And it's actually not an interview. So we're going back to our New Jersey roots. Melissa Gorga went on her podcast. She brought Joe on because she's a lot more confident when Joe is there to talk shit, I guess. And she actually dragged Jacqueline Laurita's name through the mud. And Jacqueline Laurita is like out there living her best life. Like Jacqueline just got this facial plastic surgery. She's sharing all of it. She's living her best life. Like she is not worried about Melissa at all. So for Melissa to talk about her, obviously Jacqueline's going to have a response, and we made Jacqueline aware. We sent exactly what Melissa said, and Jacqueline gave us an exclusive response to everything. So let's get into it. So Melissa was recording an episode, and she's really upset about Kathy Wakile. Chantel, you know that Kathy Wakile went on an interview recently, and I don't even know what happened. It really was so little, but Melissa made it so big. And, of course, Melissa always has to respond to these things and tell her side. And she thinks that if she says it, it's the truth and whatnot. And it was basically about when they went and met at lunch. And then Kathy was like, yeah, we met at lunch. I don't know why she said that she hopes that one day we can meet at lunch. And Kathy basically was implying like she's trying to use me maybe for a storyline to come back on the show or something of that sort. And Melissa lost it. So she had Joe come on the podcast and talk about these two. So she launched into like a tirade that seemed aimed more at defending her own narrative than revisiting reality. So she brings this up. Like, this is, why is Melissa talking about this right now? Melissa loves to say, oh, Teresa talks about me, but I counted how many times she mentioned Teresa's name on her podcast, and it's over 20 times.
And I do want to state, like I think it's such a silly thing to anybody to say to one another, like, stop talking about me, when you are on the same franchise, you have all this history, and people ask you about these people, and it's like, it's not like you're just randomly talking about someone from Real Housewives of, Orange County or Miami. Like, it's like, people are going to ask you, and at the end of the day, you guys are sister-in-laws, so that's all people care about. Well, so it's weird to keep saying, stop talking about me.
Well, here's the thing. Melissa's on her podcast with Joe. She's not being prompted to talk about Teresa. In every interview she does, in any, live interview, she's asked about something that involves Teresa. So with her podcast, at least she has control where she doesn't have to bring up Teresa. But that's all that she did in this episode is she brings up Teresa, Kathy, and then Jacqueline. And then she brings up Teresa in prison. And speaking about the period when Teresa was released from prison, Melissa is randomly opening up about a private conversation she allegedly had with Kathy and Jacqueline. So this is what she says. She says, I'm just going to go ahead and say this because now I don't give a shit about anyone, about anything, not just Kathy, anyone. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. The truth is, and I have people to vouch because they were sitting in the room, like Jacqueline Laurita and Kathy Wakile were pissed when Teresa came home from jail. And I told them both, I sat them both down and told them that this has nothing to do with either of you. I'm still going to be friends with you. I'm not going to call you two out on anything. This is not going to change our relationship, but I'm letting you know that I am letting my sister-in-law back in. I'm going to try to rekindle my relationship with my sister-in-law. Now is the time. She's hit the lowest of the low. What Melissa, to me, Chantel, fails to address is why Jacqueline and Kathy allegedly felt comfortable enough to even have those conversations with her in the first place, conversations about Teresa that she seems conveniently detached from now.
Even it's funny that a sister-in-law has to sit down two people and say, I'm not going to say anything that you guys have told me because you guys have had multiple sit-downs and convos and meetups about one person. It's weird.
So adding fuel to the fire, Melissa then goes after Jacqueline Laurita for discussing her New Jersey experience in podcast interviews. So Melissa says, Jacqueline Laurita used to do that shit too. She was going on podcasts just to bash me. Nobody cares, bro. Nobody cares. Everyone has an opinion and you could hate me. The next one loves me. The next one can hate me. This one loves you. Who gives a fuck what anyone says anymore? It's like these people think they're changing the universe. They're like, I'm going to say this about her. Oh, okay. That's going to change everyone's minds. Interestingly, Melissa Gorga has appeared on 43 podcast episodes in the past 8 months alone, not including her own podcast. So for someone who claims nobody cares and dismisses podcasting as performative, she's certainly logged in the hours. And here's my thing with her is she gets mad when people respond to things. Jacqueline is allowed to respond to something that Melissa is saying. You know, she's compelled to respond. And that's exactly what Jacqueline did here. Jacqueline gave us a response exclusively and responded to what Melissa said. And she said, thank you to the girls at AllAboutTRH for bringing this to my attention. Otherwise, I never see or hear about that miniature couple anymore. They are not even in my universe. They are so uninteresting to me. I actually can't believe she is still talking about this. It's been such a long time. However, Melissa has always been worried about how others will view her, and she always tried to shift the narrative in her favor. Somebody should let her know that it's not going to change the universe saying all these lies in an attempt to save herself. Not enough people care. The truth is, Joe and Melissa hated Teresa. That's why they called her out on national TV many times. That's why they told me and everyone else behind the scenes all of Teresa's private matters. I wouldn't have known anything if it wasn't for them. Melissa is the one that told me Teresa's letters out of prison for New Beginnings were fake, initiated by her lawyer they shared, and that she really hated me. Joe told me she was worse than before, so of course I wasn't thrilled to be filming with her again. They weren't either, but then Teresa was so nice to me, it was a bit confusing. Joe and Melissa never sat me down to tell me any of the things you guys are telling me or that Melissa is saying now. I am the one that told them to fake it until they make it with Teresa. I knew the whole time behind the scenes they hated Teresa and vice versa. I wasn't jealous or worried at all at any time. I was the one advising them to fake it for family's sake. Melissa was the one jealous and worried about how easily Teresa and I made up. She would have rather had me as the one fighting with Teresa on camera. Melissa even said on camera in a scene on our Vermont trip that she couldn't believe how easily we made up when it's been so hard for her. Melissa is the one who would tell me all the time that Teresa was being fake to me and not to trust it. That's why it was so annoying and hurtful to me how Melissa talked to Teresa about me and came at me on camera after everything she was saying to me about Teresa behind the scenes. It was so calculated for the viewers. She wasn't a true friend at all. Melissa always told Joe to bring up things on camera about his sister because she said she would look bad if she did. She put a lot of pressure on him. I'm just disgusted with all of her lies. She should just move on with her life. If she didn't keep talking about us, we would not feel compelled to respond on a podcast or anywhere else when people or interviewers ask us questions about her or about something she said. This is all just nonsense. I'm going to go back to putting Aquaphor on my face. Did you did you see how natural and beautiful my face is healing now from my facelift, neck lift, and CO2 laser after Dr. Steven IP in Newport Beach, California did his magic? I feel fantastic. Check him out. I highly recommend him. Thank you for the opportunity to plug this. Thank you, Steven. And then she puts his information.
Oh my God, I'm dead. I need to go there.
I know.
What's crazy, what stands out definitely the most, again, like you and I have always been on the page about like the brother stuff, how like we're way more disappointed in Joe than Melissa, because it's like he's the one that's blood and he's the one that, you know, should have the right to protect his sister and his wife. And it's crazy how like just saying like, oh, she's worse than before, like using those terms, it just mind blowing.
I know. And you know, what pisses me off is like Melissa will say things like, no one cares about what's being said on podcasts. And then it's like, okay, well then go unsubscribe from your own podcast, you know, because she can do things, but no one else can do it. And that's what drives me crazy. The one thing about Melissa, you know, Melissa in situations, there have been situations where it's like, okay, I could see her side, right? But she's never taken accountability. You came on your sister-in-law's show with all her best friends, okay? And since then, you got her cousin to go against her, and now her cousin hates you for it. And she had so much shit to say about Kathy, Chantel. It was so bad. It was so bad. She literally went and brought up how they said that Kathy's jealous of them. And yeah, they really didn't hold.
We hate those terms, and we sometimes use it sometimes on certain people, but like we hate those terms because it's like to say that someone's jealous of you two.
I know. And so Melissa says she was talking about it, and she talks about her luncheon with Joe. And she's like, you know, Joe told me not to go to lunch with Kathy. She's the one who initiated it, by the way. And she's like, he warned me and I said, no, I was seeing positive in it. And he knows. And then Joe's like, let me tell you something. I grew up with Kathy and I really did love her. And then Melissa, of course, she's like, well, you love Kathy and Rosie. And he's like, you know, I love my cousins. And Kathy was very nice to me. She was like a little mom to me. She really was. And I'm not saying that she's old. I'm saying she took care of me. I used to go to her house. If I got, and there's nothing that we did. We don't, and he said, wait, sorry, I messed up. I'd go to her house. She would feed me, like, you know, she was always sweet, but she changed. You know, when she got off the show, she got very angry. So Joe thinks that Kathy's just a very angry person.
I wonder why, Joe. I wonder why.
Yeah. And then he says,
and there's nothing to do with that. You had nothing to do with that, little man.
No. And Joe and Melissa both say there's nothing we did. We don't control the show. And when they get angry,
oh my God.
They get angry.
Hey cousins, want to make this your best season yet? I've been loving how easy it is to eat well with Factor. Nutritious meals, they're ready in just 2 minutes, no cooking, no cleanup, just heat and enjoy. I've been outside more getting steps in, and you know we might just start a challenge soon with this. And the last thing I want to do after is prep dinner. Thankfully, my Factor meals arrive fresh and are ready to go. This week, I had the chipotle rubbed chicken with roasted veggies. So good, it's refilling. I am not joking. I brought one the other day to work, and my sister and I were fighting over it. She works with me a couple days a week, and so now I have to bring her one because I don't want to fight over it. So with 45 weekly options, you can choose meals that match your lifestyle, whether you're going for calorie smart, protein plus, or even keto. They've got breakfast and snacks covered too. Ready to feel good, eat better, and skip the kitchen stress? Get started at factormeals.com/TRH50 off and use code TRH50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code TRH50 off at factormeals.com/TRH50 off for 50% off plus free shipping.
The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
At Sephora, we've got what you want because you're obsessed with your skin and we're obsessed with what it needs. Sephora has the best products to help you get beautiful, glowing, radiant skin. With an extensive, inclusive range of results-driven formulas and in-store beauty advisors to help you find exactly which are right for you, the best skincare is only at Sephora. Sephora, for all your skincare.
And Joe says, and I'm going to say it, they get jealous. If I got kicked off the show, I'm off the show. I got to move on. I'm not going to get angry. And I'm not going to get jealous. I'm going to hate the person that stayed on. I'm not going to hate the person that stayed on. It's just my time is over. I've got to move on. That's it. I'm not, you know what? We're not the network. We don't control anything.
That's not why they're mad, though. They're mad that you guys made them come on your side, made them lose their relationship with Teresa because you guys did this whole thing, made it like you're your team. And the minute that you guys could let them go and make sure that like, oh, I don't really care about Kathy, you guys did that.
Well, I don't want to say that Melissa and Joe made Kathy do anything. That's not the case at all. Kathy willingly.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a strong statement. Kathy willingly got into a relationship with Melissa where Melissa was comfortable enough to trash Kathy's cousin or her, which was Teresa. And then they both secretly got on the show behind Teresa's back. That's what happened. So then for years, Kathy says, the reason that I don't want anything to do with Melissa is she's like, for years, I had to hear Melissa trash Teresa, talk about Teresa, just sit there. And it was uncomfortable at times, talk shit about Teresa. And then when I felt Teresa did me wrong and I wanted to vent, that's when Melissa wanted to make up with Teresa. And she threw me to the curb. She didn't even call me and have a conversation. She just never talked to me again. That is why Kathy has an issue with Melissa.
And it has nothing to do with them not being on the not getting back on the show, like how Joe was describing.
Yeah, exactly. And then Melissa says, I would truly never say this on my podcast, but just to like bring you up to date for anyone who doesn't know, Kathy went out there and told the whole story of how we sat together. We had lunch, we had a whole conversation, and then tried to act like I was lying on other podcasts, not being honest and not telling people that we had this lunch together, when really all I was doing was respecting that she didn't want me to tell people we had lunch. And she's like, it was actually a nice lunch. So to me, it's stupid. It's so ridiculous. But to her, it wasn't. She goes, I will tell you my side of the lunch now because I was very, very shocked at the thing she was mad at. And when I tell you, you're going to be like, oh, you guys should not be fighting. It's just so ridiculous. It's so stupid. It was very serious. So I almost don't want to say it, but this is just, I guess, how people take things differently, right? But I really wanted to. I said to her, listen, you're moving across the street. And this is what triggered me to do this. We saw each other at an event. She swears she didn't see us. I then contacted her. And then she's like, this is not for clout. This is not for the show. This is not for anything. This is because you're my husband's cousin. You're going to live across the street. And that's what I told her. Like, she thought I had another agenda. I don't know if she thought I was trying to get her on the show. Definitely was not trying to do that. I mean, there's a reason she's not on the show. They didn't want her on the show. Like, I'm not here recruiting her for the show. And would I have called her if she was moving across the street? Probably not. And then Joe's like, you're right. She goes, like, I don't know if I would have. Maybe if I saw her, maybe. But I've always had a soft spot for Kathy. I never had a big knockdown, drag out fight with her. My family is very good to her still. When they see her, they say nice things. So I think I really said like what happened. Her version of what happened and my version are just two. This is why you can't really judge people when they're mad, because you just don't know what people are mad at. But like, she was very mad that, I'm just going to go ahead and say this because now I don't give a shit about anyone, about anything, not just Kathy, anyone. I don't give a shit. And she's like, this is when she says, the truth is, I have people to vouch. She says Kathy's mad at, and then she starts talking about that they were mad that Teresa came out of prison. And she's like, this is not going to change our relationship, but I'm letting you know that I am letting my sister-in-law back in. And she talks about all that stuff. And then, what else does she says? And then she says,
which, like, they, instead of them getting like quote unquote mad, if that's the case, if that's how she perceives it, it's like, and if they were that way, which we didn't see on the next season later, it's like they should have been smart enough to play the game and been like, you know what, like, I'm gonna act so supportive, so cool, and like not act annoyed, and like, and and be more on that side instead of making it seem like to her like I'm mad that you're doing this.
Yeah. And Chantel, check your text. And then so Melissa says, and then on top of that, I never said that out loud, but they did not want me to do that. Jacqueline turned on me as quick as she could. Everyone saw that. Everyone went. And I never to this day on the show. Oh, we hear my echo, Chantel. And I never to this day on the show said one bad thing about Kathy or Jacqueline ever. Go watch it back, because I was making up with Teresa did not mean I didn't want a relationship with them. Do you remember all this on the show? Like when this was on? And it's like, actually on the show, she was shitting on Jacqueline's life, calling her crazy, saying a million things about Jacqueline. But it's so funny how Melissa will say things and she thinks that no one will fact check it. And what else she said? I'm trying to see. She talks about the photo shoot. She says that Kathy, a scene with her felt very forced. Where she didn't want to talk to Kathy about Teresa on the show, and Kathy felt like that was messed up of her. So she talks about that.
For someone to live across the street, you're really making sure you guys don't see you guys are not going to be talking to each other.
Yeah. And then she says, and she's very mad that feels like we came together, I guess, with Teresa and took her and removed her from the show. When you know Joe, and I know Joe, this is 1000% not true. I won't say that's not true for Teresa. So now she's okay. So you guys, so Melissa and Joe just came up and said, we have no control over the show. Kathy's mad she's not on the show. She's jealous. We didn't choose that. We have no control over the show. We have no agenda. We can't make that decision. And Melissa doubles down and says, Joe and I, 100%, it's not true. And we did not remove her from the show. Then she says, but I can't say that's not true for Teresa. Teresa had an agenda. Teresa went in. She did tell the producers it's me or her. She did the whole thing. So she just said that none of the housewives have control over those things. But now she's saying Teresa is the reason that Melissa or that Kathy isn't on the show, which is absolutely not true at all. When no one is like really filming with someone, and we could tell while watching that Melissa was no longer interested in Kathy, that person just ends up getting iced out, and it is what it is. If that was the case, Melissa would not be on the show. If Teresa had control of the show and went to producers, Melissa would never be on the show. So what Melissa is saying right now is a bold lie, per usual. And that's why we have our issues with Melissa, because she lies and she never holds herself accountable. She's like, still talking about it. And she's like, am I in the Twilight Zone? This whole conversation seemed very like pro Teresa, like Teresa's my cousin. And it's like, so is effing Joe. Meanwhile, Joe's not the one who called you cancer. Hello. She called them cancer. And she's talking negatively about me for having a photo shoot and not hearing her out. Like, is everyone okay? Like, I don't even understand. Like, at this point, I don't want to understand. Bridge is closed. Street is closed. I tried. Nope. Done. Well, and I'm going to get a little deep here because I had told you. And the reason why I told you so, you always tell me so. Joe saying that, she's saying to Joe, you always tell me so. He's like, I'm going to be, very sweet. You were very nice. You meant good. Now I'll tell you what happened with me. He's like, so Joe says, I find out they're moving across the street. I see Rich Wakile. I'm looking down on Richie. I see him because I'm sitting on the dock and I instantly was being very nice. I go, hey, Rich Wakile, what's up, man? And I was going to say, hello, buddy. Welcome to the neighborhood. I know you're bored. I was really on my parents going to be so, on my best behavior, going to be so sweet and nice to them. Listen, I was going to shake his hand right there, bury the hatchets and move forward. And you know what he said to me? He looked at me and he was very angry and he goes, oh yeah, that's Mr. Wakile to you. And he gets in his car and takes off. And didn't the guy almost just get canceled, by the way? That's what Melissa and Joe say. So they're trying to deflect and bring up that he might have said something to get him canceled. But didn't Joe also almost fight a little kid at a middle school and almost get canceled for attacking a little child during his son's wrestling game?
And people can not want to be as fake as you. Like, people don't want to accept your hi, how are you? Welcome to the neighborhood, buddy. Like, no, we're not good. We're not good. So, like, if this is your olive branch, I don't want it. Like, I don't want it.
Yeah. She and then she says, it's just crazy. It's so weird when people do this. And I had good intentions. So if you hear me a little now, I'm just mad. I'm like, you know what? My best friend, the moment he heard Kathy on the interview, he did call us and he said, Joe, because one night we were going to dinner, right? And she just like keeps talking. Let's see if there's anything else. So she's like, it's so fake. And let me tell you something, that incident that happened on the Real Housewives in New Jersey at Rails when my sister actually called her cancer and cut her out, I was trying to make peace. Joe's like, yeah, you felt so sick over that. She's like, I was sick because I'm really not a bad person. I'm not that. I'm not evil. I just really just try to come on a show and add a producers on Facebook and talk shit about my sister on a Facebook post, reached out to her ex-best friend, Danielle Staub, and talk mad shit about our family affairs and our struggles and asked her to put me on the show and put my name out there. And then push myself into my sister-in-law, who I can't stand, and her best friend's life. Like, you're a fucking weirdo.
Is she trying to be sarcastic here?
No, I'm saying that part, Chantel.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, damn, she really admitted all that.
No, I wish.
I was like,
Dude,
wow,
I would
she's
have
taking accountability.
no, I would have so much respect for the girl if she did. I would have so much fucking
My
respect
mouth
for
was
her.
on the floor. I was like, wow, she admitted all that.
I know. And then she brings up like Joe's parents, and it's like, oh my gosh, just shut up. There's a little more. They're calling them Looney Tunes, all this stuff. Yeah. They're saying that they're not like good TV and yada yada yada. And
It's just
yeah,
so funny how like she just says like everyone has their own she says like everyone has their own perspectives. That's why like you don't know how someone's feel. But like that's when I think of her and how she always thinks that she's such a good person. It's so funny because it's like, wow, you really do think that about yourself. But like you've done
yes,
so evil and so bad, but you still think of yourself as so good.
it's crazy. It really,
And this
really
is stuff that you've done in your life that we're commenting about. Like, it's like she'll try to call us evil. And it's like, no, we're just commenting on the evil stuff you've done.
right, exactly.
Like I don't have problems with my sister-in-laws. I don't have problems with my cousins. I don't have problems with my family. So it's like, you should look at
I
yourself in the
don't
mirror and be like,
hate
why do I have these
someone.
conflicts?
Like, I don't hate someone and then try to be a part of their life and their friend group. Like, that's fucking weird. Let's really think this through, you guys. That's insane. That's insane behavior. I hate my sister-in-law so much. I talk about her. I reach out to people who also hate her, but then I want to be around her and I want to be around her best friends. You're fucking weird. Let's pretend, even if you love Melissa, that you were in that situation. Would you not think that's weird? Insane, crazy. Oh my gosh. But yeah, you guys, we had to cover that. We had to give you the exclusive. Jacqueline Laurita was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, can she move on?" And I love Jacqueline for that. And she was like, "Please go ahead and respond. For me, here's my statement on this." And we had to share that with you guys. So another episode for you guys to listen to. We do have to go because this was last minute episode, but thank you guys for listening. We still have more episodes on our Patreon. So be sure to join us on Patreon. Leave us a really nice review and have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.